The bustling diplomatic hub of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia finds itself at the epicenter of a global crisis. The United States has taken the reins of mediation, bringing together Ukrainian and Russian delegations in a bid to end the year-long war. The stakes are incredibly high, with millions of lives hanging in the balance. The world watches with bated breath, hoping that these talks will pave the path towards a lasting peace in war-torn Ukraine. The choice of Riyadh as the venue is both strategic and symbolic. Saudi Arabia, a key player in the Middle East, maintains ties with both Russia and the West. This delicate balance makes it an ideal mediator, offering a neutral ground for these high-stakes negotiations. The success or failure of these talks will have far-reaching consequences, not just for Ukraine and Russia, but for the entire global order. The outcome of the Riyadh talks remains uncertain. However, the very fact that these talks are taking place is a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak landscape. The international community is pinning its hopes on diplomacy and dialogue to end the bloodshed and suffering. Only time will tell if these efforts will bear fruit and bring about a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. The world waits with bated breath, hoping that this is the beginning of the end of a conflict that has caused so much pain and destruction. At the helm of the U.S. delegation is veteran diplomat Steve Witkoff. Witkoff, known for his expertise in navigating complex geopolitical situations, faces the daunting task of bridging the divide between two warring nations. His ability to build rapport and find common ground will be crucial in determining the outcome of these talks. Representing Ukraine is Defense Minister Rustem Umerov, a seasoned politician known for his strong stance against Russian aggression. Umerov carries the weight of a nation on his shoulders, tasked with securing the best possible outcome for his war-torn country. His resolve and determination will be tested as he navigates the complexities of these negotiations. On the Russian side, the delegation is led by Sergei Beseda, a veteran of the FSB, Russia's security service, and diplomat Grigory Karasin. Beseda's presence underscores the high stakes involved for Moscow, while Karasin brings his diplomatic experience to the table. The world watches closely to decipher Russia's true intentions and whether they are genuinely committed to finding a peaceful resolution. The dynamics between these key players will be fascinating to observe. Their every word, every gesture will be scrutinized for any indication of progress or setbacks. The weight of history rests on their shoulders as they strive to find a way out of this quagmire. One of the primary objectives of the Riyadh talks is to secure a ceasefire, a much-needed respite from the relentless violence that has ravaged Ukraine. A limited 30-day ceasefire focusing on energy infrastructure, agreed upon by Putin and Zelensky in a rare display of cooperation, offers a glimmer of hope. The negotiators are working tirelessly to expand this limited ceasefire into a more comprehensive agreement encompassing all conflict zones, including the strategically vital Black Sea region. A comprehensive ceasefire, if achieved, would not only alleviate the humanitarian crisis, but also create a more conducive environment for meaningful negotiations on other contentious issues. However, the road to a lasting ceasefire is fraught with challenges. Russia's demand for a halt to all foreign military aid and intelligence to Kyiv presents a major stumbling block. Ukraine, heavily reliant on Western support to defend itself, is unlikely to accept such a condition, viewing it as an attempt to weaken its position. The conflicting narratives emanating from Moscow, Kyiv, and Washington further complicate matters. Both Russia and Ukraine have disputed White House accounts of earlier talks, accusing the U.S. of misrepresenting progress. This lack of transparency and trust between the parties involved casts a long shadow over the negotiations, making it even more difficult to find common ground. Beyond the immediate urgency of a ceasefire, the Riyadh talks are grappling with deeply entrenched issues that have fueled this conflict for over a year. The territorial disputes, particularly Russia's annexation of Crimea and its support for separatists in eastern Ukraine, remain a major sticking point. Discussions are reportedly underway regarding the dividing up certain assets, potentially involving territorial concessions by Ukraine. This issue is highly contentious, as Zelensky has repeatedly and categorically ruled out any concessions involving Ukrainian territory. The international community, too, has largely rejected Russia's territorial claims, considering them a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Another critical issue on the table is the resumption of the Black Sea grain deal. This agreement, brokered by the UN and Turkey in 2022, allowed for the safe passage of Ukrainian grain exports, crucial for global food security. Russia's withdrawal from the deal in 2023 exacerbated an already precarious global food crisis, making its revival a top priority for the international community. The talks in Riyadh are taking place against the backdrop of continued fighting on the ground. Despite the ongoing negotiations, both sides have continued to engage in hostilities, with reports of drone attacks and shelling. This persistent violence underscores the deep mistrust between the warring parties and the fragility of any progress made at the negotiating table.